Except
Okay, guys.
there's a lot of notification. Yeah, I think we're fine now.
All right. Hey,
Hey,
welcome.
thank you.
I'm excited to meet you and understand you've got some kind of an automotive related pitch you're going to make.
Exactly, sir. Yeah. So, have you ever bought a used car?
I bought plenty of them over the years. Absolutely.
Okay, so if you ever bought a used car, then you must know that how much of a pain it is. Untrustworthy sellers, untrustworthy dealerships. There's a limited selection due to the distance, unless you are willing to travel thousands of miles for the specific model you have looked. You have to educate yourself on the different type of cars, on the different models, on the specific type of problems that different models have. So it's kind of a deep topic, and you have to educate yourself on it, which you can spend a lot of time, money, and energy on it if you like the topic. But if you are just a regular person and not into cars specifically, then you have to be actually really lucky to find a good deal. What we are doing is basically a full service online solution that where we are finding the best deals all over US and Europe. We are checking the car in and out, and we are delivered the car to your doorstep, and then you will have 24 hours to decide, okay, it is my car, it's going to be my car, or I want you guys to ship it back. But until that point, you will know everything about the car. You will see videos about the car, pictures, and you will know everything about the history of the car and so on. So in short, what CarShippy is doing is that we are providing kind of a filter between this messy market and the regular buyer. And in the meantime, it can happen that you even save money, but you will definitely save a lot of time, energy, and stress, and a lot of inconvenience in the future.
Okay, good. So I understand the number one, the market. There's what? How many tens of millions of used cars sold every year?
In the US, it's 35 million only in the US, and in Europe, it's like 32 million. So it's kind of.
So I see there's a huge market. Okay, now, this is sort of a concierge type service. It sounds like. So
Yep.
how scalable is this? I can understand if I just bought my 20-year-old son a car. We went to various dealerships. He didn't know exactly what he wanted to start with, but the question is, how much interfacing are you doing with the client, and how scalable is it then? If you put an ad out and you got 1,000 leads, what's the process of analyzing what these people are needing, and how do you qualify the people to make sure that they're really buyers and not just tire kickers, whatever?
Yeah, these are absolutely valid questions, and these were my main questions. What I'm doing, and just a little bit background, I'm helping startup in the past 4 years that going to the market and scale their business in marketing, and that's one of the main questions I always have, and this was the first question I had to myself. So the answer is that at the beginning, right now, we are going to do everything manually, just to learn the process, just to get into it, and not floating ourselves with a of clients that we cannot serve. So at the beginning, right now, we are going to do it manually. But what we are going to do is we are building actually a crawler software, which is crawling all of the advertisements from the web, which is totally available. And at the other hand, we are building an AI system which is not an AI, it's just deep learning, where we are actually qualifying the leads with based on the input they give as preferences, and then we are going to match the different cars that our software crawled and the different needs. And of course, at the beginning, until the process is until the program is learning, we have to manually check it. But it's definitely scalable.
Okay. And then are you giving them any kind of a guarantee on the price being a good price? How do they know they're getting a good deal?
Well, the main thing is that the guarantee, we are planning to partner up with not just one insurance companies. So regarding the actual mechanical guarantee that we can provide that. And the second thing is that well, our main value proposition is not to save money on cars. So we are going to tell that, hey, you are probably going to pay the same price as you would pay if you would go and buy the car by yourself. But what you get is a full service behind it, and you don't have to spend like 2 weeks educating yourself, traveling 1,000 miles, traveling back and forth, shipping the car back and forth, and dealing with the paperwork as well. Because if you are just buying a car from Austria, between Austria and Germany, there's a lot of paperwork as well. So you are basically paying the same price, probably, but you will get a service which guarantees that it will be totally hassle and stress-free.
So you're getting an expert that does this for a living. So they're likely with the volume to be able to get a little better price on it, so that by the time they have their markup, it's going to be reasonably priced. But I understand the pitch. It's not so much that this is the lowest price, but it's taking out the hassle out of the equation and kind of providing a good service. Now, I can see it in Europe with international markets, different countries, good opportunities. Is there the same market capability in the United States for this?
Well, the pain points are not the same, but the core problem is the same. The core problem is the trust. Yeah. When you're and the core problem is that you don't know the history of the car, and you don't have any real expert. Because when you're buying a used car, you like, just for an example, you are a 24-year-old woman, and you are buying a used car, or your dad is buying a used car. You are going to your dad because you think that he's an expert, but he is actually not, because he's an accountant, and he will do everything he can, and he will ask his friend Jimmy to come over because he's the expert. But in reality, Jimmy is an expert because he bought a used car in the past.
Right.
So the main point is that we are providing this concierge service, and it's absolutely the same pain points we have in America and in Europe. The difference is the two market is the amount of paperwork which is required.
Now, how much money you're looking to raise, and what is?
I think okay, we got it now.
So, how much money are you going to raise, and what would you be using the money for?
Okay, I'm turning it up, so I'm starting at the end, if you don't mind. So I would use the money for. Already have two co-founders. One is a guy who is actually doing this as a living, because there are people who are actually doing this kind of service as a living, but they have a limited. So they can't scale because they're just doing it as a person, as a lifestyle business. But he knows everything about it in and out. He's even shipping cars from America as well, like rare Porsches from California. And the other guy is a software developer who will develop all of the software behind it. So what I would use the money for building the product and testing the different value propositions on the market at first, and hiring new people who are going to actually go around Europe, finding the best deals, finding the cars, and for the beginning, I would use this amount of money to actually build up a team, and then go to the market and find the product market.
Do you have any proof of concept yet with using just even yourself or any people that are running ads, getting people, helping them in doing this in any small scale anywhere at this point? Or is everything going to be a complete startup coming out of the gate?
Well, there are similar services. There are old-fashioned small LTDs that are already doing this in an old-fashioned way, but not in a startup way and not in an automated way. So we, as a startup, started 2 weeks ago. So we don't have proof of concept, but I started working on it because I saw a proof of concept, because I just bought a used car 2 years ago, and I used the same concept, I used the same service, and I knew this guy. So that's why I'm working with him right now on this topic. So this kind of service exists. Not just right now. It haven't started right now. It's like a 20-year-old business model, but not automated, not fresh, not disrupt.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, look, I think number one, I believe, I believe there's a good market for this. You mentioned 60 plus million used cars between Europe and the United States sold on an annual basis. So yes, there's a big market. Okay. In an ideal scenario, as an investor, and you're making this pitch to me, I like to see something that has a little bit of proof of concept, that in that if you told me we had three guys doing this manually, and in 3 months we've sold 42 cars, and boom, 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 you've got proof of concept, some numbers, something that we can base the foundation of the future. Now, the fact that there is somebody else doing it is maybe a good sign also, that hey, look, there is somebody else that does this. They're not as good. We're going to do it better and professional. So, I mean, I think that maybe has some element of proof of concept to it, that similar services have been existing. So that can be a positive thing, but we don't really know how profitable they may be, or what their customer acquisition costs are, et cetera. Because at the end of the day, my question would revolve around what's it cost to acquire a new customer? That's one of the numbers. There's a couple numbers I like when I get pitched. How much money do you need? How are you going to use the money? What's the customer acquisition cost for a new customer going to be? Because now, how much do you charge? Do you build it into the cost? Is it a percentage? Is it a flat fee? What's that number? And maybe you could answer that question for me. What's the revenue stream? What's the monetization cycle here?
Yeah, so we are absolutely honest. We don't know how much will be the customer acquisition cost per customer. What we are going to do is to actually do content marketing and building up a kind of an expert profile for us. So, okay. But we don't know actually this number right now.
So I mean, look, no, but what's the income stream? You're going to charge $500 per car? You're going to charge a percentage?
Yeah, it will depend. It will depend on the car. So if the car has a value like $200,000, we are going to definitely build in much more a percentage that we are taking from this car. But we are not going to deal with low-priced cars in overall. But it's not going to be a flat fee. There are going to be parts which are flat fee for like shipping and for like the insurance and for like the checking the car, but it really heavily depends on how much the car worth. So you will end up absolutely a higher amount of money for a luxury car than you are for a lower price car.
So I mean, I would say this. I think you've got a great idea. I think you've had a nice pitch. There's a market for this. You've thought through a lot of the angles. I'd like to see a formal business plan in terms of the positioning of all the the background of the people involved, et cetera. The competitive analysis, that's important. Who's doing this? How long they've been in business? How successful they are? And then you're missing one point that I think I would love to see as an investor, and that is, what does it cost to acquire a customer in a roundabout guess? And or run some ads, go into, I mean, whether it's online, in newspapers, whatever it takes. I'd like to know, like, how much does it cost to get an inquiry? And then how much does it cost to actually get a customer? And so is it $10 an inquiry and then $200 for the ultimate customer, but you're generating $1,000 in revenue? I'm a numbers guy, and investors tend to be numbers guys. So we're here to pitch video and pitch investors, live. We're here to help you take this to the next step. Also, whether or not we actually make the investment or not is part of it, but it's also part of giving you the advice to take it to the next step, right? And so, I would suggest you go get a base number of an acquisition cost and then a suggested income stream, so that if you said to me, I have a great pitch for you, I've uncovered an amazing business. There's 60 million cars sold, and we can acquire these customers for $200, but we can make $1,000 on that customer and we've got this huge profit stream, and now we just need money so we can ramp up the marketing. That's a very powerful pitch that has me ready to write a check versus I've got this idea that's untested and there is somebody else doing it, but we need to do some more research. So I think you're close, but you're not exactly where I'd love to see you. So take it to the next step, and let's get back together, and we can help you actually structure that business plan along the way here too.
I think that's the most that I could imagine that getting out of this pitch. And I just told Damien when he asked what's my goal. So my goal was just to actually get a second round of talk with you, because I know that we just started 2 weeks ago and we need numbers. And I actually want to see numbers as well. So how about let's talk 3 months from now, when we are actually did some business and we actually have some sales and we are seeing the process and we are seeing the customer acquisition.
Yes, fantastic. And then in the meantime, you want to tie up when you're calling the company CarShippy. Is that correct?
Oh, well, it's absolutely a project name. We started 2 weeks ago. It's a project name.
Gotcha. Well, whatever name you use, maybe just think about tying up the IP around it, the .coms, the .this, the .that, the URLs. It's, everything else, trademarks, check them out, make sure you're not violating somebody else's trademark, but come up with something good. And then, because as you start advertising it, you'll be putting it out there, people might be copying. So anyway, let's try to figure this all out. And I'd like to thank you for giving the pitch and coming to Pitch Investors Live, because this is the place to make the connections, look for financing, and get some great advice. So 2 thumbs up.
Thank you
for a great
for your time. Kevin, one last question. Can I add you on LinkedIn?
Yes, you can. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Have
right.
a great day.
Good luck to you, buddy. Take care.
Bye.
See you. Bye.